Hello everyone, my name is Yuri from Mouse, and we are here at Bathurst. And we're here for the Bathurst 12 Hours by Coach Dave Delta. And I think this is one of the best events of the year. This track is amazing. It's like the mini Nordschleife from down under. Very close to the walls everywhere. It's a race of survival. It's a race of good speed, of strategy, and it's one of the best special events of the year every time. So many cars, GT3 cars on the track at once. It's always amazing. So it's very, very worth doing, and also very, very worth practicing for, because we are very close to the wall and a lot of spots. So if you want to start practicing, this guide's for you, and let's have a look how we drive around this track. Right, so here we are. End of the lap in the last sector. We're in the BMW. It's a good stable car, but it lacks a bit of traction. Going up the hill, but downhill, it's a very solid choice. We're at the middle of the day, and in Bathurst that means very hot track temperatures. And of course we're running the full tank. Started the stint, over 100 liters in the car, so the car is very heavy. Start the lap. Turn 1 we want to brake just before the 50 and focus on getting a good exit. I got a long straight coming up into turn 2. We want to brake just after the entrance road on the left side. And very important to hug the inside. There's a lot of grip there. Keep the traction. Brake in a straight line. So we go from the right to the left. And keep the speed very close to the wall on the inside again. Flat out here, but keep it very smooth on the steering to keep the traction. Small lift in the dip here to get the car to rotate. Again, small lift top of the hill here. And then immediately flat again. Brake on top of the hill. Keep it tight. Close to the walls everywhere. And brake to the inside here. Careful to not hit the wall on the exit there. And a long back straight. And when we're braking in the next braking zone, the car will be compressed into the ground, so we can brake really hard. Brake just before the 100. Again, try to keep the traction. Last one we brake at around 70. That's the lap around Bathurst. So here we are for the start of the lap. Let's go into some more detail on how to tame the mountain. So for turn 1, obviously you want to keep it right close to the white line, and we brake at the 50, or what some people use is more precise. Instead of just before the 50, we brake at where this line starts here. So come from the outside and we brake where the line starts on the road, or just before the 50, because it always depends a bit exactly where the braking point is, on how hot it is, how much fuel you have, and the state of your tires. Keep it to the right side to open up the corner as much as we can. Important to slowly release the brake here. If you release it too quickly, when the track dips away on the inside, the front won't grip up yet, and you can't make use of the banking that the corner has. And you'll see that banking come back quite a lot around this track. A lot of this track is very bumpy, very lot of banking, and your lines depend a lot on how the banking goes around the track. So try to get a good exit from here, and we got the back straight, or the first straight, not quite the back straight, over the hill. And then we want to bring the car all the way to the left side. We want to brake just after this point here, before the 50. And again, we want to make it to the inside before this curb starts, because the banking is quite a lot, but it's about 1.5 cars on the inside. If you miss that, you're going to understeer. It's the same with trying to overtake. We have a long straight before here. If you try to overtake and you're on the outside, it's almost impossible. It's almost impossible. So if you try to overtake, always try to get the inside or drop back before the corner if you think the other car has decent speed. Because sticking it around the outside here is one of the hardest things in racing. So we brake at the end of this engine slot, bring the car to the inside here, and then hug the inside until right around where the curb ends. And then the car automatically tracks to the outside because the banking starts going away. And we can run all the way over the curb to the wall here. If you run too much over the curb, in some cars like the BMW, you struggle a bit for traction, so try to run in a straight line over the curb. And then we got a very tricky uphill hairpin. It's very tricky because again we have a lot of banking and we can't brake in a straight line. So that means we try to straighten up the line beforehand as much as we can, close to the wall here as we can, turn in late for the kink, and then the moment we get to the apex of the kink, we start braking. We try to brake to the outside here. And the banking here changes quite a lot. There's a lot of banking on the inside. There's a lot of banking in the first corner, and then it even out a bit. And we have to be careful. To the right side of this white line, the banking goes the opposite way again. So if you would want to run all the way to the wall here, you have to keep in mind the car will start to understeer a bit, because the loaded side of the car will be on the right side of this white line that goes down again, out of the corner. And the car will want to go straight. So I want to run as close to the white line here as I can without going over that. And it's a very, very banked corner here. In some cars that aren't as stable into the corner, you'll have to be careful with the rear stepping out because the front end grips a lot here. In the BMW, we have a very stable car and corner entries, which will help us on the downhill. But that also means that we can be quite aggressive on the entry here. Send it in with quite a lot of speed and the rear will stick. We want to run at the apex, at least with the left side tires on the white line, as close to the wall as you can. And the closer to the wall you are here, the more banking there is, the more grip you'll have. So very, very important to be very, very close to the wall here. And then when we get up and the banking goes away, we try to keep the traction of the rear. Try to straighten the car. If you're still turning too much where the banking goes away here, it's very, very common, especially in front engine cars, that the inside left wheel will start to spin up. And the way you prevent that again is try to straighten up the steering before the track goes completely flat. Then we go completely flat here. We try to be as far to the left as we can. And if you can see this here, the wall goes straight and then it opens up a bit. It gives us a bit more room to open up the next right-hander. And of course, we want to use that. So we want to be on the outside right when it opens up, as close to the wall as we can. And if you can see here, it can be done easy flat in almost all track conditions with almost all tire conditions. So as long as you get the line right, you can go completely flat. If you want to lift, a small lift is not going to lose you much. A slide is going to lose you more than a small lift, especially over the stint. So if you're struggling to do it consistently flat, do a small lift before the corner here. So before you get to about this point, just go off the throttle a bit and then flat again. Being flat in the middle of the corner will help that pressure on the rear end, to help the traction. Small lift beforehand gets the car to rotate in nicely into the corner. Lifting in the middle of the corner, if you want to do that, will upset the rear, take the weight off the rear and make it harder for you to do. But can be just about flat. And again, try to keep the wheel as straight as you can. Exit as close to this wall as you can to keep the traction on the rear. We're really, really on the limit here. Then flat onto the downhill. And then at the bottom here, you want to get as close to the wall as you can. You don't have to run all the way to the inside here. You run a bit wide to open up the entry to the corner where you actually have to lift. So we lift a bit at the bottom here. We can do that to get the car to turn in. And I like to do that just before the track starts going up again, so that the front end is loaded by the time I'm going up the hill and I get that bit of bite on the front end. So full lift, get towards the inside curb here. We don't run over the curb, but we get towards it. And then again, flat out. This curb here will catch you tiny bit if it feels like you're just about hitting the wall. But as you can see in the scan already, a lot of cars graze or touch the wall here or get damaged, and it's very, very, very easy to do. And you'll see this happen a lot, I think, in your 12 hours as well. If you can avoid doing that the whole 12 hours, you'll be looking good. And avoiding that understeer mid-corner is doing a lift nice and easy before the corner and then going flat again. Close to the wall here, both sides. Small lift on top of the hill here. And again, I do that to give grip to the front end, and then we can go flat out again. We can run 2 tires on the outside curb here, as long as we can make it over to the left side wall before we get to this sign. So we bring it over to the left side again. And as you can see, I bring it over to the left side, and I try to do as much turn as I can while I'm still on the power. So that by the time I hit the brakes here, my car's pointing exactly towards that apex here, and hopefully towards the apex of the next couple of corners. That way I can brake late and try to brake as much in a straight line as I can. So down the hill here, you want to be as close to this wall as you can. And as you can see, we want to brake in a straight line to here, but we have to make it around this bend here. And this is where the BMW shines. The rear is very, very stable here, so you can really send it down the hill and gain a bit of time compared to especially mid-engine or rear-engine cars. What that does mean is we need to be careful of not overdoing the front. And the more we're turning, the less we can brake. So the more we're turning down the hill, the less we can brake. I'm turning a bit here to go around this apex. You can see the brake going down over the curb. Then I've got the car straight again. I've got my wheels straight again, and I can brake a bit more again. So the more I've got the car straight, I can brake. The more I'm turning, the more I need to go off the brakes, and we try to balance that the whole way. Then we get to the inside curb here, and we want to come from the inside curb from about the middle of the track, and then follow the whole inside curb. So we want to follow the whole inside curb until we get to the end of the curb, and we get to the dipper. And we'll go from the onboard cam here. What I like to do here, and you have to trust me on this one, and at least try it a couple times. When I get to this point here, I aim not for the apex, I aim for this text on the wall. And if you're doing it right, and you go towards this text on the wall, the car will automatically understeer a bit off here because we can't really see this. But the track completely dips away on the inside here. So I aim for this point on the wall here. As you can see, I'm aiming for this point. It feels like I'm going to hit it. But when the track dips away, the car will go straight and it goes right past it. And the closer you go past this, the faster you can go, the more you can straighten the corner up. But also the more banking there is when you land and the less understeer you have when you land. You can see I'm already flat here. I'm not going to lift again throughout this whole section. So you have to aim for this letter here. And it feels very, very scary if you first do it. But again, I'm aiming for this. And then when the track dips away, the car starts understeering. And I just about miss it. And the closer to this text you are, the faster you can go. And this is how this looks like from the outside. Coming here. You aim for this. And then the track dips away and the car starts going straight. And this corner alone is where you can gain the most time. So it's very important to practice this corner. Maybe even set a reset point at the top of the hill and just practice going down the hill a couple times. And then again, you go flat out. Keep the car to the left side here. We want to brake just a bit before the bend. Go off the brakes again while we turn the most. And then brake in a straight line. And this corner here is another corner where we have to look at the banking of the corner. Normally what we would like to do is brake on the right side here to open up the corner. but because there's so much bank on the inside, I want to brake straight for this inside here. And my inside tires, I want them to be on the white line when I start turning in. So I want the inside tires to be on the white line when I start turning in. And I want them to be on the inside of this white line, because that's where the most banking is. The closer to the wall you are, the more banking there is. You can even get closer to the wall here. It will help the car get around the corner. And this small bit here that I'm off the wall is already going to cause me to have to lift a tiny bit here on exit to not hit the wall on the exit. And of course, you want to run as close to the wall here on the exit as you can to maximize the speed you run all the way to the back straight. And then we had only a couple corners left with a bit more runoff. The scariest part is done. And we get, I think this is called the chase, where, as you can see, we go down and then the track starts going up again. That means by the time we're braking at the 100, the car gets pushed into the road. We're going full speed, so over 270 kilometers an hour. And the track gets pushed into the road, so we have all the downforce and the weight of the car will be pushed into the road. That means that this is one of the hardest braking zones in iRacing, and not the most difficult, but the hardest you could press on the pedal. And you'll see that as well. We brake just before the 100, and we can brake 100%, which is almost unheard of in GT3s. Of course, it will depend on your brake cylinder a bit, but you can brake very, very hard here without getting to the ABS. That does mean that when we get closer to the corner, the car doesn't get pushed into the road as much anymore. We don't have as much downforce anymore because we went down to 153. You have to start releasing already while going in a straight line. In the corner here, we can keep it in third gear. Second also works. I like keeping it in third for the longer stint. Focus on a good exit. There's no real marker here, so it's tricky. I try to brake around 75 or 70 between the 100 and the 50. So around here I'm braking, keep it on the right side. Open up the exit. Get the car on the curb. That's the lap around Bathurst. Right, so there we go. Very, very close to the walls everywhere. Amazing track to drive. And I hope everyone learned a few tricks how to get around this track, how to get close to the wall while keeping it safe. I wish everyone good luck in the 12 hours by Coach Dave Delta. And if you want to see more videos like this, make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel.